Hello, my name is Elizabeth Wrabiutza, student number 4105311, and today for my final project for the course Invisible Influences 1108-01, I will be discussing fertilizer. What is fertilizer? Fertilizer is any substance, natural or synthetic, added to soil or plant tissues to provide essential nutrients for plant growth. The macronutrients, or major nutrients, in fertilizers are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Nitrogen promotes healthy leaf and stem growth. Phosphorus is essential for root development, flowering, and fruiting. And potassium supports overall plant health with stress tolerance like drought and disease resistance. The minor nutrients are calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. Calcium improves plant vigor and promotes root and shoot growth. Magnesium is important for chlorophyll production. Sulfur plays a role in protein synthesis. The macronutrients are boron, copper, iron, manganese, zinc, chlorine, and cobalt in tiny amounts. So how does it work? Most of the nutrients that plants need are already available in the soil, but fertilizers or plant food provide additional nutrients that allow plants to grow larger, producing more flowers and fruit. Fertilizers can also add nutrients that may be missing in the soil. Why is fertilizer important? Well, without fertilizers, crop yields would be significantly lower and it would be difficult to feed the world's growing population. Plants fertilize the soil naturally when they die and are able to put their nutrients back into the soil. The issue is that when we harvest the crops, the soil is left without anything being put back into it. By 2050, the world would need to increase food production by 70%. Without fertilizer, global food production would be half of current levels, requiring farmers to grow more food on less land. Fertilizer helps to keep soils around the world productive to supply enough food for the growing population. Guano is a naturally occurring substance primarily made from the excrement of wild bats and birds. It's commonly used as fertilizer and is typically high in nitrogen, phosphate, and potassium. Guano was highly sought after fertilizer in the 19th century, and it transformed agriculture and fueled economic growth. Unfortunately, so much of the guano was being extracted, and it was not regulated, particularly from the Peruvian islands, that it led to a significant depletion of reserves. By the early 20th century, guano deposits were largely exhausted, and the guano era had come to an end. The population was rising, and the need for an alternative was becoming a very serious concern. The development of synthetic fertilizers provide a viable and more readily available alternative to guano. Who invented synthetic fertilizers? In 1930, Fritz Haber, a Jewish chemist, and Karl Bosch, a German chemist and engineer, developed a method for producing ammonia from nitrogen and hydrogen, which was used to create artificial fertilizers. The Haber-Bosch process is considered one of the most important technological advancements of the 20th century, enabling mass agriculture production and significantly impacting global food security. According to some studies, 40% of the world's population would not exist if it were not for Haber's research. However, there was also a very negative aspect that resulted from this discovery. Although Haber was Jewish, he was also very patriotic and was committed to his research. Years after developing synthetic fertilizers, he was involved in the creation of chemical arms together with Ferdinand Fury. They created Zyklon A, which was a pesticide that releases hydrogen cyanide, which, with a method of absorption, turned into Zyklon B, the gas that was used to kill millions of people during the Nazi Holocaust. What effect does fertilizer have on the environment? Fertilizer plays an important role in our world, reducing the amount of land needed for agriculture to feed our growing population, but they can also lead to water and air pollution, soil degradation, and greenhouse gas emissions. Water pollution. Chemical fertilizers can leach into groundwater and surface water through runoff, contaminating drinking water sources and harming aquatic ecosystems. This can lead to eutrophication, where excessive nutrients in water cause algal blooms, depleting oxygen and harming aquatic life. Air pollution. Some chemical fertilizers can release harmful gases, ammonia and nitrogen oxides, into the atmosphere, contributing to air pollution. Soil degradation. Continuous use of chemical fertilizers can alter soil pH, making it more acidic and potentially harming beneficial soil microbes. This can disrupt the natural soil ecosystem and reduce its fertility. And greenhouse gas emissions. The production and use of chemical fertilizers contribute to greenhouse gas emissions, including nitrous oxide, and contribute to climate change. Environmental phenomena such as acid rain formed from the combination of nitrogen dioxide and sunlight can occur. Different kinds of fertilizer. Substituting chemical fertilizer with organic fertilizer is one way we can help reduce the negative impacts on the environment. A long-term field experiment was conducted from 2011 to 2017 in a wheat-rice rotation system. One section was the control group with no fertilizer. The second used chemical fertilizer only. The third was 50% chemical nitrogen fertilizer and 50% organic fertilizer. And the final was 100% organic fertilizer. Results showed that crop yields were highest in the 50-50 section. It was optimal to increase crop yields and recover soil bacterial diversity in the wheat-rice rotation. What is organic fertilizer? Organic matter is anything that was once a living plant or animal. It includes compost that you can buy or make yourself, and such things as composted animal manures, green manures, cotton seed, alfalfa, feather and bone meals, animal byproduct, lawn clippings, and leaves. Some advantages of organic fertilizer include they don't make a crust on the soil as inorganic fertilizers sometimes do. They improve water movement in the soil and, in time, add structure to the soil. Organics feed beneficial microbes, making the soil easier to work. The downside is that they can cost more than conventional fertilizers because they're less concentrated, supplying fewer nutrients and nitrogen. Sustainability. Fertilizers have created environmental problems, soil nutrition imbalances, and not optimal food production. A more efficient use of fertilizers for food security while preserving the environment is needed. The continuous increase of nitrogen loads rising faster than phosphorus and potassium loads have unprecedented impacts on the ecosystem. These imbalances have serious impacts on food production capacity. I hope that you enjoyed my presentation on fertilizer. Although it was a bit depressing, I'm glad that I chose this topic to research. It affects every single person in the world and those to come after us. We are living an unsustainable lifestyle. What we really need is for our disposable single-use products to decompose and be used to re-fertilize the farms and agriculture so we as humans can stop doing more harm to our planet and give more back to the earth.